right, it is time for Friday Reads. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. In my Friday Reads videos, I share how my reading has been going, including what I've finished, what I've started, and anything interesting about books that I'm carrying over week to week. And it's mostly carryovers this week as I get down to the last few books or several books and the last several weeks of my goal to finish the books that are on my currently reading by Halloween. I'm working with anything that was on my currently reading as of May 1st, which was the most recent round of the currently reading challenge. Anything that was on my currently reading from then, I want done by Halloween. So that's really been my primary focus of things. But I have gotten a few other things into the mix. So let's see what those were. So first up, I did finish Junie B. Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus. And this is by Barbara Park, illustrated by Denise Brunkus. This is the first in the Junie B. Jones series. I did read the first grade Cheater Pants and Has a Peep in Her Pocket, which is about a school trip to the farm. But this is the first one. I read them out of order because I got one at a library book sale. They're very young, reading. I don't know the right terms for what level for kids. But this one, she's going to school for the first time. And so junior kindergarten here would be 4. But Cheater Pants, that was first grade, and so that's 6. And they are in her voice, which, to be honest, I've realized I'm actually not a fan of. I do like kids' books, but I'm not necessarily a fan of books in kids' voices, and that feels a bit weird, but I think it's a bit true. So this is the third that I've read in the series, and I think it's not really what I'm looking for. This one is about her going to school for the first time, and I just, there's some things that I just felt like a little awkward about, like she gets told to be quiet, and which of course, like, there's tons of kids there, but I don't know, there were just things that didn't quite sit with me. But I can see through the series, there's lots of things about, doing something that may not be the most smartest or appropriate thing to do. So it's a good talking point, especially if you're reading this, with family members, so you can discuss these things, or if you're reading them in a classroom setting or whatever. But it's not what I'm looking for. They're very, very short. They're like 60 pages with illustrations. You can easily read them in one sitting. And I'm looking for easy reads, but something that's a bit longer, maybe like 120, 180 pages. And I don't feel like for me, I'm definitely not the audience. I love kids books, but this is a bit more like for kids, you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to for a general audience. And when I think of like film or TV, like there's things like Teletubbies or whatever, and that's like, or Barney, I guess, for kids, like that's for kids. Whereas something, if you watch like a Pixar movie, that is for a general audience. There is something for everyone there. And I feel like these are a bit more for kids, and so that's not really what I'm looking for. So I think I'm going to let that series go and keep my search on for something that is a bit more what I'm looking for in terms of easy read, something I can read easily in a week or two and doesn't put too much and is kind of light and stuff like that. So we'll see. I have gotten a couple of recommendations, and I am hoping to check some of those out. Although I do have a middle grade read in the mix right now, so I'm gonna wait till I'm done that. That's part of my currently reading. I'll talk about that in a sec. Onward to other stuff that I have finished, and it's not much. It's Persona 4. I finished volume 4 and volume 5. This is a manga series. I am reading it is the series read along for Dai's Monochrome Manga Club. So these were the September selections, and I really enjoyed for the continuation of this particular series. And I'm really enjoying this series of Persona 4. It's kind of funny because I haven't played the game or any of the games, so I have no context for things. So there's some things in them that are like, you can tell they're a game situation. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on at all. There's sort of like action sequences, and I'm like, I got no clue. But there is like a mystery plot, sort of. I don't know, like, I'm feeling like, how much of it is a mystery? How much of it is it more like thriller? But I just really enjoy mostly the sort of friend group that has developed. So I kind of feel like that's what I'm along for the ride for, because I am not a mystery reader and I'm never gonna guess who did it or why. So, but that's totally fine. But I am enjoying the world and the characters. And so I did finish volume 5 and volume 6. And for this week, that is it. I have not finished almost anything. My reading has been a lot lower numbers and volume and time than usual. More than last week, I think, but not by much. So that's not feeling great. But I did have something, and this one I didn't even finish, but I did start this, and I hope to finish it soon because it's going to expire. My library hole is going to expire, and that's Black Artists Rock, The Cool Kids Guide A to Z by Kara Reese. And this has a reader's favorite 5 stars sticker on the image, and it really is an A to Z of awesome Black artists from all different genres. It's illustrated, and then the descriptions of the artists are quite poetic. And I think I just passed Quincy Jones, so I'm almost there. So that's been a really good read that I started this week. I also have been continuing on August of the Zombies by K.G. Campbell. This is my current buddy read with Izzy and Kay Kelly. So this is the middle grade that I'm reading, so I'm resisting starting another middle grade. The Junie B. Jones was more like kids, and this is this is like over 400 pages. It's the third in a series. I am enjoying it, but it is a bit slow going just because my reading's been slow going, but we're not doing the live show till the first Thursday in October, so I still have a fair amount of time. I do feel like this one, it's about a kid named August that has a sort of connection to zombies and butterflies, and it's quite darkly whimsical, I would say, because, like zombies, but I do feel like a little bit like I'm surprised at where the story is going, a little bit, because I felt more like it would be direct from where we were before, and it feels a little indirect from where the second book left off. So and I can feel that, because I know it's going to have to get back to where the story was going. So, but more has been added. Anyway, that's not a later books and series are always hard to talk about. So, I apologize if that is confusing. Also, I apologize if this image is backwards. It might be. I'm not sure. I am continuing to work through some technical issues, and I fixed one, but now the video might be backwards. I couldn't figure out a way to flip it in the YouTube editor, nor in the software, like the very bare bones software that is on my computer. And so anyway, I went with that. I fixed one problem, and that's good enough. And hopefully I will fix, if this is reversed, I will fix that by next week. It's hard to tell because for me it looks the same, but when I watched a playback of the test, I was like, oh, I think it's backwards. So one thing at a time. Also currently reading, I did get back to Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This is one that I was hoping to finish by the end of this month. I don't know what I was thinking. I have only read like 20 pages, maybe 26 pages. I'm about halfway through. I'm thankful that the current section I'm in didn't have anything that I found super, super upsetting. It's a pandemic speculative fiction, but with an art commentary something, I think, going on, and that's what I'm sticking with it for, is that when it has discussions about the arts, I am very interested, and but when it's got this sort of survivalist vibe to it, I find it very upsetting, because I don't like, I've watched and read enough survivalist stuff that I'm done with it. I will still read, there's 2 of the big dystopics that I haven't read yet, classic dystopics, and I'll read those, but I think I'm done with dystopic and pandemic and post-apocalyptic. I just find it too tense. I don't know. Anyway, it's not, and it's well written, and it's Canadian, and it's on so many of my lists, and I am now just more than halfway through. And when I brought this back into the mix, I thought it would be faster to get to the end than it is now appearing, mostly because I just saw the number of pages left. I didn't realize I was only halfway through it. And this one I started, I think, in 2020. So, and the last time I picked it up was in May, and I read probably like 30 pages. So sometimes I'm referring to stuff and I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty hazy. And other stuff I completely remember. So it's a bit of a mixed bag there. But and I'm sure it's really good, and it is really good. It's very well written. It's just not fitting my mood at all. And I am also continuing, of course, Madly Deeply, The Diaries of Alan Rickman. I'm really close to the end of this. I realize, though, that it's a bit complicated because, of course, as it comes to the end of it, I don't realize the timing in which how far the diaries go in terms of matching up to when he passed away. And so now that I'm getting close to the end, I'm getting a little like sad and nervous and not sure how much of what is, if anything, is going to be discussed. So, but I am really close. Like I am 45 pages from the end. So I had hoped to finish that this week. Nope. Also continuing with The Vikings. Don't have too much to say about this one. It's so heavy. I am hoping to finish that by the end of the month. I don't know if that's going to happen. I am continuing to read The Iron Warrior Returns by Michelle Willingham. I think in last week's video I accidentally explained the plot that it's a male-female protagonist, male-female romance, and I accidentally explained that the male lead was trying to win a tournament to win the hand of the Lord. He's trying to win the hand of the Lord's daughter. So this has also taken quite a turn and is quite dark. And so I'm just like, all of my reads, like even the zombies, the zombies are dark and whimsical, but like this one has taken quite a dark turn. So it's a bit challenging in terms of what the protagonists are up against. It's a guy. It follows a male-female romance. It follows a guy who's was the successor for the particular area, but his father was killed and he was captured along with a couple other people, including the woman who's the romantic interest, but they escaped. And so it's a couple of years later and he's trying to win back the rightful ownership of the area, but he entered a tournament, and in the tournament you can potentially win the hand to marry the current lord's daughter. But the current lord is not a nice person, and all of the people who are currently living there are like in fear for their lives. So it's tough. So I know I'm also at like a point where I just need to get over this next little bit and it'll be fine, but it's a bit of a tough point. So it's just like everything has been a bit tough. I'm also continuing to read Conan. Which one is this? Hour of the Dragon. I have 3 more chapters. I really would like to finish this week because once I finish this novel, I can get back to the title that's on my currently reading, which is much more of a priority. And I am kind of worried that I shot myself in the foot for this one because it's delaying progress. I can't get back to the short stories because I'm reading this novel, and it's taken me much longer than expected. I think I started it in early August, and it's only 300 pages, and here we still are. So yeah. And then, but I did, to end on a high note, I did actually make pretty good progress in outline alphabets. Who would think? I think it's one of those things, like everything else has been just like a little bit here, a little bit there. This has been tough. This has been tough. Outline alphabets, like there's no other than, it's just doing the work. It's just sitting there doing the alphabets. So I got through the O's, and I think I am down to, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, I forgot to add it to my tally yesterday. Well, I think I have 24 alphabets, but only 19 pages left. So that math doesn't quite work. But I made progress. Jeez, I forgot to add it to that. Anyway, I'll do that later. So yeah, and this takes a lot longer because I'm actually like writing out the alphabets. I'm very happy though that all of the O's, there were 4 of them, were very different, unique alphabets, because I don't know if this is good or bad, but because I kind of had to have decided that if I come across an alphabet that is very generic, that is very much like a lot of the other alphabets, I'm trying to see if I can find one in here. But I guess like this first one, like it's very, that's got some character to it. Most of these have character to it because it's the cover. But like even that one and this one, they aren't that different. They're just sort of like, that one's just sort of squished, or this one, that blue one, that one I have done. There's many ones. Let's see this blue one here. That starts with TUVWXYZ. That if I come across an alphabet like that, I'm just going to turn the page, because I have done over 70 alphabets at this point, and I know how to do that alphabet. Like, unless it has something unique, maybe I'll do the letters that are unique, but I don't think, I think it's okay. I think I'm doing it to find new alphabets. At this point, I'm doing it because I said I would, like, and now it's like, that's a title I started like almost 4 years ago now. Like, it was 2019, I think. It's one of the oldest. It's the second oldest on the list. But I have made good progress and consistent progress. This week and last week I did make progress on it. So I'm happy about that. Anyway, but I can feel, even I imagine you can tell by my tone, I'm feeling just a little down. I have been on again, off again in terms of being able even to get some time to do my reading. Not as bad as last week. Last week I really had like extra things on a lot of days. This week it was more just like busy, and so it was hard. There were 2 days I just didn't do any reading, and I can feel, especially talking through some of the titles I'm reading, resistance, because they're tough, or there's something about them that's like, all of them, there's something about them that's tough. So I don't really want to read them, like, and I want to finish them, but to have them all at the same time is not easy. And even the ones that aren't picked right now have other things that are tough, and this is probably why they've been left till the end. But I do want to finish them. I do want to, and thank you for the comments last week to both, remember to see how far I've come, because I did actually look back, and like because I can very much be that, and I don't think that this is my personality, but I can very much be that sort of like, like once something is done, I just go to the next thing on the list and don't always take like a moment to be like, that actually was really good, or let's, like, and that doesn't, and I don't like that, you know what I mean? Because it's like you're not necessarily recognizing like the work that's been done so far. And so when I look back, so I did look back, and I went back to May, and on May 1st, when I started the Currently Reading Challenge, I had 32 titles on the list and 7,700 pages. So now I'm down to 9 titles and 1,700 pages. So over that time, I have finished 6,000 pages, and over that 4.5 months, and I have read 32 and 9, 23 titles. Is that right? Yeah, 23 titles. So that's a lot, you know what I mean? And I've read a bunch of stuff in between, but I can feel I am really ready to draw this to a close. And but looking back and realizing how much was done, like how much I've done and how much I've accomplished, was very, very helpful. But I also have now realized that one of the challenges I'm facing is that I'm very resistant to start anything until this is done. And that is stagnating the energy of my reading, because it's just the same again, same again, same again. And I ran into that a little bit when I did the TBR jars at the beginning of last year. I had the 4 TBR jars for the different genres, the big bucket genres I read, and it was a lot of fun to draw the titles, but then I was reading the same 4 things for 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how fast I finished stuff. And I was like, really didn't like it at all. It just, even when I liked the title, especially, it was particularly bad if I didn't enjoy the titles. But even when I like the titles, it's like having the same breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a month, which actually I don't really care too much about that. But you know what I mean? Like it's so stagnant. And so that is, I'm realizing that that's part of what's going on too. And I do, at the end of last year and a lot of the beginning of this year, what I did and really worked for me was I picked a 5 title TBR, which really actually does work for me. But in those 5 titles, I picked something to finish, because there was always something I was close to finishing, something to finish, something to start, and 3 things to carry on with. And that really, really works. That energy really, really works for me. And I am just not feeling like I want to start anything significant. You know, it doesn't have to be like significant, but I just don't want to, because I don't want to add. I just want to get these done. So but I realize that that's probably what it is. And that's where the energy, that's sort of stagnating the energy. But because I need my reading time to be these titles so I can finish them, I don't want to add anything. And I also do have my buddy read with Izzy and Kid Kelly with August of the Zombies. And I do also have a buddy read with Anita. We're reading Night of Darkness, which we haven't connected with on a bit. And I have to reach out to her and see how we're doing on that. And each buddy read takes its own rhythm, and I'm totally cool with that, but it's just been a while. So but I don't want to start anything because of that. I did actually, that being said, I did start a nonfiction art book, Learning to Draw, Drawing to Learn by Joanna Nash, specifically portraits, but I'm not doing the exercises in it. I'm just reading it, although wow, I apparently have lots of thoughts. And I am enjoying it, but I have gotten to it maybe 1 or 2 days out of 5 for the past couple weeks, because I've made almost no progress. And I did add this in because I'm very behind my nonfiction art books reading goal, which is one I would have to double check my records, but I'm pretty sure that is a challenge that I've had since I started doing challenges. And I have never been this far behind, and I don't think it's one that I've ever failed, and I might this year. But I do feel like, obviously, I'm giving a lot of energy to these currently reading titles. So, but I have not hit my page count this week. I did not hit my page count last week, but as I said, I have 1,700 pages to go over 5 weeks. That was calculated on Sunday, so that doesn't include this week's reading. So I have 5 more weeks, and the remainder of this week still is possible, but honestly, these pages, the time it takes to read these pages versus these pages are nothing like each other. And then this is super slow. This is like half speed for me. So I don't mean to, I can just feel that energy sort of like, so, and I am reading, I am adding in new stuff in terms of kids books and manga and stuff like that. Anything I can finish swiftly, I'm fine to add that in, but I don't want to start a novel. So, and I don't know if that's smart. I don't know if because everything is sort of even if I started a romance novel, I'm one of the titles I'm currently reading is a romance novel, so it doesn't make sense to start another one. And I do have one that I want to read for book club in November for the Who Picked This Book club, so I'm just so anyway, it's just been another tough week, and I feel like I need to shift something because there still are, as I said, 5 more weeks to go. And if I'm it's too, and next week I have a lot of extra stuff going on, so I don't know how my reading's going to go anyway. So I might, it's always possible that I might not hit my goal, but I'm feeling the sort of fatigue of working on the same thing for so long and just really being down to stuff that I'm not as excited about. And that's not totally true. Honestly, this, it's really good, and I love his commentary on art, but there are things, as time goes on and as we age, that get a little tougher. So that's tough. And the Viking one is very interesting, but it's just very dense. It's very dense, and I've been consistently reading it for a long time. So anyway, now I'm just reiterating the same. But yeah, so one, I'm sorry that things may or may not be backwards. I will try and fix that for next week. And I apologize for being a bit of a downer. It's just been like that. And then also this week there were the protests. Oh my God. The parental rights protests for people wanting school boards to out their kids to the parents if they use if they use a different name or pronoun. It's absolutely ridiculous. So there was lots of counter protests, and I was very happy that our Toronto mayor spoke out and said in support of the LGBT community. And the Toronto school board policy is not to do that, and they have said that they will not change that. So, but other school boards are wanting to, and so it's just, I just find it's so cruel to take a safe space away, and that's what that's trying to do, and oversee someone's individual choice. It's individual right. Not choice, right? So there's just been a lot, and I'll put an article down below if you're unfamiliar with what's going on. And yeah, so it's just been a sort of tough week all around, and my reading has not gone terribly well. So I really honestly finishing 1 kid's books and 2 volumes of manga, that's actually really low. Like I don't know the last time. Like when I go to update my spreadsheet on the weekend, there's I'm going to be done pretty quick. There's not going to be too much to say unless I find some extra time. And last week I did take time on a day that I wouldn't normally read to get some reading in, and that did make a difference. So I might do that again this week. I also do have to return the Alan Rickman book to the library. I was hoping to do that next week, so I actually really do have to finish it. So anyway, sorry to have that be sort of like all over the place and to have sort of the same frustration, but at this point, knowing that not starting something might be part of it is helpful, but I still feel like I'm going to resist starting something, at least for now. So we'll see how things go, or maybe I'll just consider my buddy reads, my new starts, but I haven't even always had time I'm like way behind on how I thought I'd be reading August and the Zombies. So anyway, so that is how this week has been going. Let me know how your week has been going, and I will be back with another video. I might have a TV video up this week, or I might just leave it with this video this week, given the fact that things are filmed in reverse, potentially. I can't even tell. So it might be nothing till next Friday. We shall see. And, but I have been consistent with Friday reads. I think this is my 3rd week in a row, so that's good. I just wish I was more, like, up on, like, happy about things, but, I mean, you take the wins where you can get them. So, that is it for this week, and I will, be back with another video soon. Thanks so much for watching.